What's going on, Memorial sports fans? I'm Charles Strayer.
And I'm Teddy Harless.
And welcome on into the girls basketball regional recap, where the girls had 2 games and 2 wins to make themselves regional champions and that much closer to the state tournament.
Let's get right down to it.
Starting right off with the first round of the regional playoffs, Eau Claire Memorial defeated Oshkosh North here at the Eagles Nest in a 58-42 victory. Now, a lot of things went into that win to advance us to the regional finals. Now, Teddy, if you had to say what was the biggest factor here in the win?
Well, I'm actually going to cheat a little bit in this too here. The 2 most influential factors, I think, were shooting percentages and rebounds. With the shooting percentages, we had higher shot percentages almost across the board with the exception of free throws. And with rebounds, we out-rebounded them 40-20 overall.
Yeah, as we know with this team, rebounding a key strategy for them, allowing them to continue possessions and to get possession in their hands on defense. And that certainly played a role. Oshkosh North came to play, and we were only leading by 4 going into the second half, but we were able to pull away with a solid double-digit victory in large part due to those rebounds. The individual side also saw some great, star performances. Lydia Palmier, who has been doing very well from beyond the arc as of late, was 4 for 9 in her attempts against Oshkosh North. And that was especially, most of those coming in the second half, that was a big part of setting the tone and getting the upper hand in the final minutes.
Yeah, and it was a great game for Lydia Palmier, like you said, from the 3-point line, and Rayna Welsch down getting those boards with 16 of them. All around, it was a great performance for the Old Abes in their first playoff game, which they carried into the next game against SPASH.
Yeah, absolutely. And SPASH, the Stevens Point Panthers, came back to the Eagles Nest. We were all hoping for it, and we finally got it. The revenge game that we've been waiting for since mid-February, and it did not disappoint.
And with that game against SPASH, girls basketball are now the regional champions in a thrilling 52-51 victory. How did we make that happen?
Yeah, so you look at the stats, especially, we love to compare this game to our previous one against Stevens Point, because a lot of the stat categories were pretty similar at first glance, with the notable exception of the final score. But something that really made the difference this time versus last time were defensive categories. We outplayed them in steals with 9 to their 3 this time, and that's compared to we had 8 steals in the first outing to their 9. So that is a big difference. Second chance points were a big part of this victory. We scored 10 second chance points versus their 2. So keeping those offensive possessions alive down under the basket were a big part of this win. And we love to mention it, but in the games these close, every point counts. And the free throws were a huge, some may say the crucial difference. We were 9 for 11 from behind the line, and those last 2 trips to the line, Rhea Shaw and Rayna Welsch, they both hit both of their free throws to keep us ahead in the final minutes. Now, SPASH struggled at the line, which is uncharacteristic for their team. They were 2 for 7 from the line, and, the math speaks for itself. In a 1-point game, we were able to largely capitalize on the trips they gave us to the line, and they were largely unsuccessful.
Yeah, as you said, some key players in that free throw percentage. Rhea Shaw went 4 for 4 on the night and had 2 free throws in the clutch closing minutes of the game. And Rayna Welsch also 100% on her trips to the line, 3 for 3. Also had some clutch free throws in the fourth quarter, as well as 19 points overall, and a large part contributing to those second chance points in which we won. And another player who did really well on the defensive side, Ashlynn Schroeder. She had 3 steals and a game-clinching block to make sure that the final shot did not go in the basket.
Peed with no defense. All the Abes need to do is touch this one. Shot blocked! Shot blocked! Schroeder blocks it! It's the Abes win! 52-51! Schroeder with a chance to win it, but Ashlynn Schroeder coming out of nowhere to bat it down back to earth. The Abes win!
And we actually talked to both Rayna Welsch and Ashlynn Schroeder about those clutch moments, and this is what they had to say.
It was a very close game, 52-51 at the final buzzer, and you guys were no strangers to clutch moments. You know, Rayna with your free throws to keep us in the lead, and Schroeder blocking Swabert's pass into the stratosphere and getting it, sealing the victory for us. So that is a very high-pressure situation in front of a very excited crowd with regionals on the line. What all went into keeping a level head in those situations to come out victorious?
Yeah, we've been here before. Like, we've had close games this season. We had a really close one against Menominee, and we knew this was going to be a tough game, but we've put in a lot of time in the gym together on our own, and we've worked for these moments and worked on these moments in practice, and so I think we were comfortable and we were ready for it.
Yeah, I also think our grit and our support for each other was a big factor in all that too.
Thank you very much for that interview, you two. Clearly a very exciting moment. And hey, Old Abes as regional champions, a monumental achievement, but the season is not over yet. We've still got a very tough opponent ahead of us in the number 1 seed, Hortonville. They'll be playing us at Eau Claire North on Thursday. And this is a huge game. Now, on the individual side of things, we were talking about Swabert and being a big player that we needed to watch out for in our last video. And in the first half, it seemed like we were doing rather well covering her. We held her to only 6 points, but that changed very quickly. She finished the game with 19 points to her name in that second half. And that is something of a concerning factor that, we didn't lose that game. But that is something we need to consider going forward because we are playing Rayna Welsch. For those of you who do not know her, she is a 5'10 junior who is an absolute legend on the court. She made the all-state team. She averaged about 16 points a game in her freshman and sophomore years, and she led the Hortonville team to a state tournament appearance. She is going to be extremely dangerous, and this whole team, very well-rounded, very disciplined, playing in a tough conference. They check off all the boxes for being a tough opponent to take down. Now, Teddy, what do you think are some keys to pulling off this huge upset?
Well, I think the biggest thing we have to do is defense. Like you said, we have to worry about Rayna Welsch, a 22.4 point per game scorer on the season. But I think as a larger goal, we have to limit them to less than 70 points. They have only won 50% of their games when they've scored less than 70 points. And up to this point of the season, we've yet to let anybody score 70 points on us. So I think that is a key number that we have to try and stop them from reaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that definitely speaks to how important the defense is going to be in a lot of the most high caliber matchups. Just like we saw with SPASH, a few days ago, it came down to that defense. Able to outperform them in steals, getting more points off of second chances, defensive rebounds. All of those things, our aggression has shown through and allowed us to get where we are as the regional champions. It's what allowed us to get to this game, and it's going to be what we have to nearly perfect in order to advance from this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hortonville is a very tough team, but what you have to consider is that Hortonville is just another team. They are subject to getting beaten upstaged, and all we need to do is beat them this once.
And if we do win against Hortonville, we will have to go up against either Hudson or Nina in the sectional championship game to send us to the goal of the state tournament.
Yeah, and looking at that matchup, it should be a very close one. It's hard to determine whether or not, Hudson, as we know, we've had trouble with them in the regular season. We lost to them both times. It's hard to tell whether or not they will clinch the spot for the sectional championship. Neenah is a very tough team. So I'd put, the odds at about 50-50 for either of them. But whichever is able to make it there, should we beat Hortonville, we are going to be looking forward to a very, very tough matchup in the sectional championship.
Yeah, both of these matchups are going to be tough, but I think we have the potential to make it to the state tournament. And I think we have the potential to beat just about anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. An underdog mentality goes a long way in these scenarios. Now, Eau Claire Memorial, not favored by any means, other than in our hearts. But we are a very tough team. When the chips are down, we are able, as we saw with SPASH, we were able to deal some payback to a team that, let's face it, kind of had our number in that first matchup. Hortonville, tough. Neenah, Hudson, undoubtedly tough. But, we're looking forward to some great games of basketball here. We got one game guaranteed left, and sectional championship awaits if we're able to pull off that upset.
And, as always,
go Abes!
Hi everybody, I'm Aidan Rickert, Eagle Eyes Other Guy. If you're interested in more MHS sports content, be sure to check out our TikTok, Instagram, and check out some of the other videos on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more. Go Abes!